Hey guys, thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Ryan Chambers and I cover the Dallas Stars for the Hockey Podcast Network in a podcast called Starcastic Remarks. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a couple of the trade deadline moves that the Stars made and also the fact that John Klingberg was not traded by the Dallas Stars at this trade deadline and what that might mean for the Dallas Stars. Let's go take a look at all this. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into the very first trade that Jim Nill made that was actually released on Sunday night after the game. So what Jim Nill did is he did this, and this was straight from this Dallas Stars website. Dallas Stars general manager Jim Nill announced today that the club has acquired goaltender Scott Wedgewood from the Arizona Coyotes in exchange for a conditional fourth-round selection in the 2023 NHL Draft. If the Stars qualify for the 2022 Stanley Cup playoffs, then the selection turns into Dallas's third-round pick in the 2023 NHL Draft. So the draft pick that they gave up is actually not for this year's draft, but the following year's draft. This year's draft is seen as very stacked. There's a lot of good players. So it's good that the Stars were able to give up a draft pick for next year. Now, the only thing that worries me about this particular trade is not even about Scott Wedgewood, because I know he's a capable backup. He's played the Stars several times, and he's played well against the Stars when he played for the Arizona Coyotes. But what this worries me about is the fact that Braden Holtby is going to be out for an extended period of time. And obviously they had no faith in Adam Scheel, who was backing up Ottinger the past week or so. And Ottinger is going to need a break at some point. He's been playing absolute nonstop. He's started the second most games over the course of the last month, other than Connor Hellebuck in Winnipeg. So he's going to need a break at some point, and I think Scott Wedgewood is a capable backup. He's not a fantastic backup, but he'll do. He's 29 years of age, and he's appeared in 29 NHL games in his 2021-22 year with Arizona and also New Jersey. So he was actually with New Jersey at the beginning of the season, but he was claimed off of waivers by Arizona, and Arizona took him, and he's done really well there. This season with Arizona, he's appeared in 26 games, and he's had a record of 10, 12, and 2, which, yeah, that's not a great record, but again, he's with one of the worst teams in the NHL. And he had a .316 goals against average, which, again, not a really good stat you want to have if you're looking for a goaltender. But the goods part of this is his save percentage. His save percentage is a .911, which is fantastic considering the team that's playing in front of him is very, very bad, and that's above league average. So we'll see what happens with this trade with Scott Wedgewood. So the second trade that Jim Nill actually made actually happened today, right as the trade deadline was happening, when many Stars fans were thinking we weren't going to see anything else. But this was announced today. Dallas Stars general manager Jim Nill announced that the club has acquired forward Vladislav Namestnikov via trade from Detroit in exchange for a fourth-round selection in the 2024 NHL Draft. Detroit will retain 50% of Namestnikov's salary for the remainder of the 2021-2022 season. And additionally, the team has placed goaltender Braden Holtby on LTIR lower body retroactive to March 8th. So Namestnikov is coming from the Detroit Red Wings. He's a third line guy, maybe a fourth line guy, definitely a bottom six guy. The thing is he has scored 13 goals this year, which for the Stars, I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but considering the Stars don't score a lot, we'll take any kind of offense we can get. But one of the things I did want to point out big time is the fact that he ranked fourth among his team forwards on Detroit with an average shorthanded time on ice per game of 1 minute and 37 seconds. So we've seen over the course of this season that the penalty kill has been anemic at best. It's been good at times. It's been bad at times. I think this is a decent depth move. I don't know who comes out of the lineup in favor of Namestnikov, because, Kiviranta's already out, so I don't know who else comes out. Probably Peterson or one of the other younger guys, but it's purely just a depth move by the Dallas Stars. What I do like about this is that Detroit retained 50% of his salary, so Namestnikov makes about $2 million. So he's actually on the Dallas Stars cap hit only as $1 million, which allows us to be able to be a little bit more flexible with the cap. And obviously, just like I just talked about, my fears with Braden Holtby being hurt longer than it seems is confirmed. He's been put on LTIR, probably to make moves so that they can put Namestnikov and still be cap compliant. So we'll see how he kind of slides into the Dallas Stars lineup, but this definitely seems like a Rick Bowness kind of guy. And again, Jim Nill going back to his roots in Detroit and talking to his Detroit friends to make a trade that can benefit the Dallas Stars here. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about this trade deadline is the fact that John Klingberg was not dealt at the trade deadline. And they pretty much came out and said with the injury to Miro Heiskanen that John Klingberg was going to be going nowhere. Just because, I mean, if we trade him, we really have a very, very weak defensive core. And he hasn't been all that great this season, especially defensively. But you can't trade a guy when Miro Heiskanen, who is your best defenseman, is out with mono. I know a lot of Stars fans were upset that he was not traded, but I still think this is the right call if you're Jim Nill and the Dallas Stars. You're going for a playoff spot. I think that he believes all they have to do is get in, and it's all up for grabs at that point. If we're looking at the fact that the Stars can only get that second wild card spot, we would be facing up against Colorado, which is scary. But at the same time, we defeated them in the 2020 bubble playoffs. Now, that was a lot different circumstances, but obviously with the moves that Jim Nill made, he believes that this team is good enough to make the playoffs, first off. And second off, he thinks that the team is good enough to even win around and go forward, maybe go deep in the playoffs. So I don't necessarily know if I agree with that. I'm still worried about them making the playoffs, but we'll see. The one thing that I hate about this not trading Klingberg thing is we look at all the other defensemen that were dealt at the trade deadline. We look at Hampus Lindholm, you look at Ben Sherratt, and I'm sure there's others that I'm not thinking of right off the top of my head right now. But the teams that had those players got king's ransoms for those players. And I'm talking about like multiple things. So in some cases there were like, several picks, like a second rounder and a first rounder, or a second rounder and a third rounder, or a second, a third, and a prospect on top of that. So that's the one thing that I'm kind of sad about, because we could have gotten something huge for John Klingberg. And looking at it now, I don't know if he's going to re-sign with the Stars. So at this point, we're basically getting nothing in return for John Klingberg, assuming that he doesn't re-sign with the Stars. There's always that possibility that he will come back and he will re-sign with the Dallas Stars, but I think the relationship between him and the Stars is a little bit down. I don't think he's worth the $8 million that he's trying to get, but I don't know, and I just don't think we can afford that, especially when we consider that Jason Robertson is coming off of his entry-level deal, and he's going to be looking to bank. And Jason Robertson, more than anybody, deserves it, even more so than John Klingberg. So we'll see what happens with John Klingberg. I hope an extension gets done, because I would love to see him stay with the Dallas Stars. I don't know if 8 years at $8 million would make me feel comfortable with the deal, but maybe 5 years at like $6.5 million, something like what Hampus Lindholm get. I would love that. I don't think that he's going to sign with that. So I think at the end of the year, at the end of the offseason, I think he will be with another team, unfortunately. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for me in this video today. Please let me know down in the comment section down below what you think about this video. Are you happy that John Klingberg is staying, or are you sad that he wasn't traded off? What do you all think about the moves of Namestnikov and Wedgewood? Are they good additions? Should we have done more? Let me know if you think Jim Nill should have done more. And then, as always, guys, please make sure you click like and subscribe on this YouTube channel. And please check us out anytime after a Dallas Stars game. We do an after-game review on our podcast feed. You can find it here on YouTube, or you can find it anywhere you get your podcasts. Thank you guys for listening. I'll catch you on the flip side. See you later.